Hello, hello. I think we are live. I think we are anyway. I'll just make sure we're getting some people in the chat already. Right, welcome everybody to the Vintage Collection Show here on YouTube, and it is with my great pleasure to announce that I have two awesome guests with me today. We have Mr. Mark Hamilton from the band Ash, which is a first for me, having someone famous on the show. Although I've had only one Kenobi on before, he's famous, so.
Only one's pretty famous.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
consider. Only one's more famous than I am for sure these days.
And I have Martin Keeler, who is the only person that I know that has a museum dedicated to Constable Zuvio.
Absolutely.
And I once had the tour, and it was awesome.
It's really a thing. No one thinks it's a thing, but it's a thing.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I've just had a week in the Cayman Islands, so I'm back for like a day off in Jersey City, and then I'm flying off tomorrow to New Zealand. So pretty busy. We've got a tour over New Zealand and then Australia and then Japan, and coming back for like a show in London as well.
Whoa. I just want just stop my ear thing. Now I'm struggling here because it says we haven't got anyone watching. Which can anyone in the chat tell me if we are live? If you can hear us.
You can see people saying hello there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they're saying hello to each other in the chat. I don't know if we're live.
Phil LaForce says we're live.
Sorry?
Phil on the chat says we're live. Yeah, we're live.
We are watching. We are live.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, it just says 0 on my thing. Maybe it just needs to catch up. Usually it's all good. So yeah, thanks for joining me, Mark. I really appreciate it, buddy. For anyone that doesn't know, Mark is a huge Star Wars fan, not just of the films and what have you, but he's also a massive Star Wars collector. Just before we came online, he was showing me a few bits of his collection, and yeah, it puts us all to shame, to be honest. And Martin, many of you might remember him from used to do the videos for Fantha Tracks. That's right, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Black Series, which I know is not your bag, but I was a completist on Black Series and sort of dabbled a little bit in vintage collection, but huge Star Wars fan who just dabbles in everything.
Yeah. And the main purpose of this live stream is obviously we like doing live streams, but also Mark and the band are headlining a gig at Celebration on the Sunday, which we want to tell you all about it. Basically, there's some awesome guests there and stuff. And I think, Martin, I'm going to hand over to you, if you don't mind, to talk more about that. And then after that, we're going to get on to talking to Mark and Martin about Star Wars and their collections. And obviously Mark loves the vintage collection, which will be good for everybody watching this because they will be fans of the vintage collection too. And he will also have some awesome stories as well about some of the things he's got up to over the years involving doing gigs for like famous people and stuff in the Star Wars world, which is pretty awesome. So Martin, I'll hand over to you. I'll share my screen at the same time if you like.
Okay.
So then people will know what you're talking about,
Absolutely.
So go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, we'll get the promotion out of the way, then we can talk toys and Star Wars properly. But so on the Sunday, the 9th, which is just under a month away, the last proper day of celebration, even though you got the Monday, everyone will be going home in the evening. We're putting on a gig at the Indigo at the O2, headlined by Ash, not a surprise, with Mark being on here, who, if you're not convinced now, by the end of this stream, you'll know, huge one of us Star Wars fans, probably got the sickness as much, if not greater than a lot of us. But it's also got the amazing Blues Harvest playing, who recently did the launch party for The Mandalorian at Piccadilly Circus for Lucasfilm. Favreau and Pedro Pascal like them. That's probably good enough for most of us. They're going to be joined by Darth Elvis doing his last ever public performance. Right. If you haven't seen Darth Elvis already, this is your last chance, and it's amazing. If you have seen him already, you want to see him go because we're not going to just let him disappear quietly. There you go. There's some great images. We've also got DJ Elliott DJing a full set. He's the guy who is the stage warm-up on the main stage at Celebration, has been for the last, I think, 6 or 7 of them now. But good to see him do an actual full DJ set, as well as Level Up Leroy, who is the sort of equivalent over here of Elliot doing the MCM Comic Cons and numerous other. Has also done Celebration and will be doing Celebration. That's like the main gig. Oh, and Mike Quinn's going to be joining Blues Harvest, and there's some unannounced guests joining Ash, needless to say, because we love giving surprises. That's the pimp for the actual event happening. If you want to go to the next image, you'll see the rather wonderful poster that's advertising it at the moment. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Which probably sums up what's going on. But we also have, while the poster comes up, I'll tell you, we also have a number of signing guests there because we're doing it at the Indigo at the O2, just across the Thames from the XL Centre, where we've got a number of people available to do signings and selfies. So get your vintage collection figures ready to be signed. I'll just list through them, and we haven't finished announcing everyone yet. But we've got Garrick Hagan, Biggs himself. We've got Paul Blake, Greedo, Tom Wilton, who was Ponda Baba in Rogue One, and various other aliens. We'll put the full list up later. Paul Casey, who best known as Admiral Radis, but has done loads of creatures in the sequel trilogies and everything since Disney took over. I'm really excited. Robert Strange, who's Hondo in Galaxy's Edge. If you've been on Smuggler's Run, you've seen the footage. It's the only live action Hondo there is. And Robert Strange was the guy who was in the shoot. Oh, here we go. Got the names coming up.
Yeah.
Seacom, as you can see, who was Watto. And announced so far, we got Max Rebo, Simon Williamson. You wouldn't be Cantina without Max Rebo. I think Mark's giddy with excitement about Max being there. And who else? We got Lewis McLeod, who was
Sebulba, yeah.
Who again is an incredible impressionist. I'm really rattling through these, and I would say the VIP guests, but that'll just make everyone jealous because we've actually sold out of VIP tickets now.
Oh, really? Okay.
They are completely sold out. But that's Julian Glover, Ken Colley, Michael Culver, the three Imperials. Of course, they're not going to mix with the Riff Raffer in the main cantina. They're going to be in the VIP section. But those tickets are sold out, I'm afraid. So get your tickets, £36 plus fees. You can get them from www.thisiscantina.com or the Indigo at the O2 or AXS.com. I think that's the complete advert done, unless I've missed anything, Mark. Then we can talk toys.
Yeah, we've got a few more signers that we haven't announced because we've still got like 4 weeks to go, so we're kind of spreading them out. And then there's also special guests who are going to be on stage with Ash. Someone, this is a little, maybe I shouldn't be showing that, should I?
Oh, no. Why would you?
That's a clue. That's a clue, but
yeah,
that's a clue. But
Boba Fett, yeah. Nothing's
announced yet. But yeah, we're very excited with some of the guests that we've got lined up, and some of the guests we might not even know until like the afternoon of the gig. And I guess as well as the guests that we're allowed to talk about, there's lots of people who are going to be at Celebration that are just going to come over for like the party, because it is like the Sunday night. It's kind of like it's the last big blowout of the weekend, really. Bank holidays the next day. And it's, as you said, you just get the cable car over from the XL and you're right there at the O2. Yeah.
And Phil's comment of 84 brand new annual Piet figures. Do you know, so many people have said, will the figures arrive before,
I hope so. The gig? I hope so.
But bring all 84. It's only going to be a gig. Everyone brings a big box of figures to a gig. That's what everyone would normally do. I've got figures that I've been, as we've been sort of like locking in these guests, I've been like going on eBay to buy like carded figures to get signed for myself. So I've got I got bigs from like the 30th collection and our 30th anniversary, and then the Tatooine bigs as well. Yeah. So I'm excited to meet bigs. I think bringing a figure is a good idea. I'm not sure you want to bring the most precious items you've got, and a box load may not be the right idea, because it is.
Unfortunately, we don't have like a TVC Max Rebo yet.
No, shame that, isn't it? Yeah.
We do have Hondo. We got Hondo. You could get Hondo signed figure wise.
Yeah, I was looking at that one, and I was looking at how much a Ponda Barber was. A Ponda Barber was on eBay. That one's not a cheap one to get.
Phil's going for it. He said the only 84 things I'll be having is beers. You'll be having cocktails, I suspect, because there's going to be themed cocktails there.
Lots of themed cocktails. The last time, so actually we held a similar event on the last celebration in 2016, whenever it was in London. Yeah. And we did it in the O2 as well, but it was a smaller venue at the, it was called Brooklyn Bowl. It's about 1,000. So this time we thought, well, let's hire out a place 3 times the size and do it again. So like the Indigo is it's like a pretty high spec venue with very good production values and stuff. So we're looking forward to it. I think Prince played there, so that's the kind of caliber of.
Prince has played there. That's what everyone who's performing says. I'm going to share the stage with where Prince played. But yeah, it's a massive venue, and it's really high tech, which is great for us because we can use the screens like you wouldn't believe, and there's some theming going on, and we don't want to give all the spoilers away. But I think Mark's giggling about a purchase I made. I bought 100 of something, which Mark's still giggling about, which will be handed out on the night.
Inflatable lightsabers to throw into the crowd, so there'll just be like a massive battle in the middle of the show.
Yeah,
I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome. And I'm at Celebration on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday, and then that to look forward to on the Sunday. So if anyone's in the chat that is going to Celebration and they're still there on the Sunday, then come down. I'm sure it'll be like a who's who once you're in there.
Yeah.
And how much are you charging for autos and selfies, Tim?
Yeah. Tim, you got your own stand, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm going to be very low key.
We've got one of the other organizers who's not here today. Is a writer, director, producer, and filmmaker called Jet Shepard, who's actually writing a narrative. So it's there's going to be like an immersive element to the whole night as well, and a story going through the evening. So he's in the he's coming up with a storyline which is going to involve a lot of these guests who are going to be there. Some of them will be on stage. Like we're still working all that out, but it's going to be a fun evening.
Yeah, sounds it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. I didn't actually book a hotel for Sunday night, so which one of your floors am I crashing on?
That's all right. They've said for the VIP party afterwards, which of course Tim you're coming to, they won't shut until the last person has finished their drink. So just keep a drink.
So just drink through the night. We'll just stay at the venue for the evening. I've got a hotel for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but not the Sunday. Because I booked my hotels about a year ago before I realized that they were going to run it. I thought usually they don't run it on a Monday.
No.
Yeah.
So I was planning on going home on the Sunday, and then when you announced this, I thought, well, I'm going to stay now. So now I've got to try and find a hotel for that Sunday night.
No, I wasn't joking. They said they're going to stay open until the last.
Well, yeah,
that's it.
I'll be in one of the booths then. Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, so like I say, 36 quid. We've done this. Yeah, we're fans. This isn't a business venture. Obviously, Mark is a professional musician, so there's an element in there. But we've done this really because we want to see a show that we want to see. So the price, I think, is pretty damn reasonable, considering everything that's going in. Obviously, you have to pay for your autographs and your selfies if that's what you want to do. But 36 quid gets you the full show, the whole experience. I think we'd struggle to get all of that for that kind of money in most places in London, certainly when Celebration's on as well. So hopefully it's price friendly because Celebration is not cheap.
No, it's certainly not. No.
And where else can you do shots with Greedo?
Yeah, you're going to
actually do shots with Greedo.
Who's going to have their shot first? Is it going to be Greedo or you? And I suspect everyone's going to have that photo.
Yeah, and we are setting up like an actual photo op for that with the booth and
that's awesome.
Public.
Yeah.
He's going to be out. Paul Blake's going to be absolutely annihilated by the end of the night.
Yeah. If everyone buys Paul Blake a drink, that's just that. This could be the last time you see Paul Blake.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So yeah, anyone in the chat that's going to Celebration, I'm going to be there. I hope to see you there. It'll be awesome. I know Phil the Force is going to be there.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I think I did put the link to the tickets in the description of this live stream if you want to click on that. If not, I think I can just put it in the chat actually.
And if anyone's got any questions, put it in the chat as well. But we're going to talk toys.
We are going to talk toys. Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me just get on the stream. And there we go. There's a link.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that sounds great, guys. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a great end to the weekend, and probably the highlight actually, as far as anything goes. Because I'm not sure if the Hasbro panel will be a highlight. We'll have to wait and see.
Phil's on fire in there. This should be the tagline for Cantina that he's just put on
there. Yeah. Right then. So Mark, we want to talk to you about Star Wars in general and your fandom for it, and some of the things that you've got up to over the years. I've got some other pictures here that you sent me here just to throw up on the screen, just very quickly. Let me see if I can do that. Here we go.
That's right? Like, okay, so that's a very early press press shot that we had around 1995, 96. So actually, Ash, for anyone who doesn't know, our band's been going for 30 years. Quite a long time. So we basically came straight out of school and straight on, what we had been playing around for a few years, but we left school, played Glastonbury, and within a few months, we were on a world tour and never really came home. It was like joining the circus almost. But that first album. Sorry,
go on.
I said the first album was called 1977, which was named after the year Star Wars was released. And two of us, Tim, our singer, and myself, we were both 1977 babies, so it kind of felt like a good match. And then also because music's kind of got quite a lot of early punk influence as well. So there's, that was 1977 was a big year for whenever Sex Pistols and punk broke. So it kind of felt like those three reasons were good enough for how that name happened. And then the first thing we did on the album was record. We actually stole a sample off an old VHS of A New Hope and used the TIE Fighter flying past. Screeching past. And we didn't ask permission. We just did it and stuck it on the album. And it kind of worked out because rather than getting in trouble, they kind of trotted us out to sort of help do promotion for the special editions at the time. So we got to go do all those premieres and just became kind of known off as sort of Star Wars fans, even when we were that young. So that was that picture is kind of playing into that a bit.
Yeah. Let me move it on. So, so what's this one then?
Oh, that's I'm absolutely drunk there. That's after a show. That's after a show in London Forum. We had played 3 nights at the Kentish Town Forum, and I think that was maybe the last night. But it was the costume, and I think it might have been the 501st came down, and they sort of did security, just patrolled around the venue and did security, which we've actually they've done a lot of that kind of stuff for us over the years on stream, not all the time, but on certain special events or special shows, so we've got good ties to them, and that picture was really good. That got used a lot. That's actually so I'm actually tall. I'm 6'2". And that is actually the Chewbacca they had at Skywalker Ranch for the Revenge of the Sith media screening.
Oh, awesome!
And that's how tall that guy was. I couldn't believe it. And that's my little 6'2" head in his arms. That guy must have been a good 8 feet at least.
Yeah.
Again, that's the same day. I think that's the front of Skywalker Ranch during that media event, and that was just some of the stormtroopers they had there on the day. It was an MTV kind of thing. They had a lot of American celebrities and people Macaulay Culkin and that were there. I was sat one row beside Macaulay Culkin whenever we got the early screening of Revenge of the Sith.
Mark, did you end up giving tours on that one?
So I'll have to rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewind quite a bit. So when we go back to around about 1996, we had been followed by a camera crew to do a sort of like a road tour movie for like 18 months on that tour, because things had just blown up kind of globally for us. We were on tour everywhere. And so that tour kind of like lasted for almost like 2 years. And so that tour movie was made. We actually produced it ourselves in a way. We funded it ourselves. And that album had went #1 and like multi-platinum. And we spent all of the royalties making this tour film. This is before like, easy like camera phone, or yeah, phone cameras, and there was no real internet back then either. So there was no YouTube. And reality TV didn't even really exist. So we were actually paying for like a proper camera crew to follow us around, which was significantly expensive, And so we spent like I think $250,000 of our own money, like all of our royalties, to make this movie, which we never released. And Ewan McGregor did the narration on the movie. So we met him in a pub in Soho after he recorded all the voiceover work. And we were just like hanging out afterwards and having a drink with him. And this was at the time whenever he had been recorded, they were filming The Phantom Menace. And he sort of said, "I'll just wait 1 second." And he made a phone call and came back. And he said, "Are you guys available in 2 days' time? Do you want to play at the rap party for The Phantom Menace?" And we were like a bit shell shocked. And yeah, of course, yeah, we want to do that.
No, I
don't. So within about 48 hours, we were like our little white band van was driving into the Leafson studios, and there was like a big fields and stuff. As we were driving up to the the studios, there was like the big statues from the Gungan like shrines, the big god things that the Gungans were hanging around. That was like in the field, and we were like looking at them, going, "What the hell's that?" And then we drove into like the main studio, and to where like the party was going to be later that night, and it was like the Steed hangar. So we were told we weren't allowed cameras and stuff, no photographs on that day, because this is before the movie had even been.
Is this where the double doors where Maul comes out? Yeah.
Yeah, in there, so the Steed hangar, yeah, exactly, and it was where the the N1 fighters. So like they had thrown, I guess the people on set had thrown up the stage really quickly, in the space of like 2 days. And then that night was like the rap party, so all like the cast and crew were there. We ended up playing on that stage to it was like a couple hundred people, but it was like, we very quickly learned the Cantina band music, which was like, it's essentially jazz music, which is not what we were used to playing. So it's like a lot more, like hundreds of notes involved. So like we were trying to cram that in the 2 days beforehand, trying to learn how to do it. And then, within 48 hours, we're playing that on stage and looking out to watch George Lucas there looking back at us. It was very surreal. So like I'd met him like before at one of I think it was the special editions in London. They had like thrown like a big fancy party in Leicester Square. So met him again that night, and then just having ties, from that party, we got asked to do music for, jump forward a few years. It was after. It was 2004. They were asking us to do the music for Republic Commando, the computer game, which was through LucasArts. So we made some good friends there, and I ended up going out a couple of times. This ties back to what Martin was talking about, this picture here. So I made some friends there, and I'd been out to Lucasfilm a couple of times before that event. So I had been given the tour around Skywalker Ranch a few times and kind of knew it. And then on the day of the media event, the MTV event, there was so many people there, they didn't have enough guides. And someone it was kind of like off the cuff, just sort of like people were turning up late, and they still wanted to give them a little show before the screening. And someone said, "Oh, Mark, you've done it before. Would you just show them around a bit?" So I actually found myself like showing a few people about the house, like the Skywalker Ranch itself, which not the archive. I never actually got in there, which I obviously wanted to. But just the main big house at Skywalker Ranch, which was kind of cool. And trying to think of other stories. And just before, around that same time, we got like to stay there overnight and play a show for ILM, which was really surreal. So we ended up turning up one morning. It was like a day off on our West Coast tour, and we were to play a show in the soundstage at ILM for just Lucasfilm and ILM employees. And we got in there in the morning, and there was no security there, and we had a couple of handlers from Lucasfilm, and they sort of said, just make yourself at home and get ready, set up, do whatever you need to do. And in the green room there was like these big metal cases, and I was like, I wonder what's in there. And I looked at it and I saw that it was labeled with like it had come back from Spain. And I was like, because I'd been like keeping tags on, was aware of what was going on in the production side of like all the leaks and spoilers of the new movies. And I knew that it had been shooting pickup shots with stunt doubles for Anakin and Obi-Wan in Spain. And I thought, no, it couldn't be. So I just like opened the crate. I asked permission from the handlers first and said, okay, if we look in there and see what it is. And they said, yeah, go on and go ahead. And they opened it up, and it was like Anakin and Obi-Wan's costumes, like the proper ones. Oh, and then we were like, is it okay if we put those on, kind of thing? And the people that were in charge there didn't actually have the authority to say yes. So within a few minutes we had the gear on. I was in Anakin's gear and like running around inside the big. It felt like it was a big hangar soundstage at ILM, and there was like an actual operating R2 there as well. And we were like posing for pictures with lightsabers, just running around. And then security turned up to start their shift, and they were like, "Hold on, what's going on here?" And they were like straight on the phone to Skywalker Ranch, and it was like a red alert kind of situation, and it was like a lockdown moment. While we didn't necessarily get in trouble, but the handlers did. And then we got told that the photographs of that should never ever appear on the internet because they didn't want me in Anakin's gear showing up before the movie dropped. So that was we got told off, but not really. It's like a soft telling, a hand slap probably at the most. But they were good to us, Yeah. They still like it.
Sounds awesome, man. Sounds awesome. So in terms of the rest of the band, like you're all Star Wars fans, but you're the one that has taken it to the next level and sort of collects stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of like the band started when we were like teenagers. I might have met Tim when we were only 11 or 12 actually, and so like we kind of like bonded over like mutual love of heavy metal, but also whenever you're 12, you're still basically a kid. You're still go around. We had grand designs for being like Bill and Ted, and having this like world domination with like this metal band or whatever. And but we also kind of shared a love of Star Wars, and I went over to his house. He had all the figures. I had all the old Kenner stuff as well. And then eventually, when Rick joined, we found out that he was a Star Wars fan. So it was kind of like it was definitely a common link there with the three of us. But while they grew up, I didn't. I just continued to collect the toys over the years, and I've got like a couple of lockups full of stuff.
I see you've got the barge.
Yeah, I've got the barge back there. That's above the TV.
What were your thoughts when that thing got announced? Were you all over that? You were like, you just had to have it.
Oh yeah. Oh, day one. That was my any kind of TVC HasLab is hopefully we'll get another one soon.
Mark spends most of his time when we talk. We're forever talking about what the next HasLab's going to be, or what Hasbro should and shouldn't be making. And Mark gets quite passionate about it, don't you, Mark?
He does, yeah. I had a long conversation on Discord with him when we're talking about this show, and he knows his stuff, and he does get passionate about it.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like to rant about like Lucasfilm and maybe some of the content that's been coming out from Disney, but most of my ire goes towards Hasbro.
Yeah.
So Mark has made a really. It's like if ever we can get a campaign going, it's for this. Mark has made a public commitment that if they ever make the Ghost as a HasLab, then he will stop complaining about Hasbro's choices. So,
I have said that before.
That's what we should start the campaign for.
I have said that before.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll stick to it, but hoping. I mean, I'll stop me for it. It'll shut me up for a bit.
So did you with the TVC? Were you buying it back in 2010 10 when it first came
Oh
out?
yeah. I mean, basically, since Hasbro, once Hasbro took got the license and started making the 3.5 figures, I was from Part of the Force 2 on. I've been collecting it all. So I've got quite a collection, and it kind of coincided with a time when the band was doing quite well. So I had a lot of like time to sort of like and a bit of cash to throw at the stuff. So I've built up quite a collection, and even my old Kenner collection's pretty substantial, because actually this is but even before the band took off, I kind of like noticed cause my dad collects model trains, and I noticed in Model and Collector's Mart this is whenever I was like about 11, that there started to be like little ads popping up in the back for Star Wars toys. And this was, the period whenever, years after Return of the Jedi, when there was nothing new, there was no talk of even new movies, or this was even before the comics started coming out from Dark Horse.
Times.
Yeah, totally the dark times. I mean, the only thing we had a couple of Ewok movies and then nothing. And I saw this advert, and it kind of like really, it sort of sparked my imagination. And it was all the old Star Wars toys, and I think I had kept some of it, but my mom had got rid of some of it as well. And then I started to get it all together again, and going to car boot sales, and finding other friends who had got their collections, and buying all their old Kenner figures off them for like 10p each, or really cheap. Getting like last 17 figures for 50p, that kind of stuff. Building up a collection, and I got the Yellow Pages and rang around every toy. There's a lot of toy masters in Ireland, and rang around all of them, and most of them, this is a few years later, but most of them had no old stock or inventory at all. But some of them, like especially, and they tended to be farmers who also owned toy masters, had like boxes and boxes of stuff in farm barns and stuff. So like me and my dad drove around with a trailer and just scooped up as much as we could, and then I was able to sort of trade things to some of the English dealers, and get the stuff that I didn't have, because a lot of the stuff that I saw listed I had no idea existed, because it was never available in Ireland. And then I was able to like complete the Kenner collection that way. Not the carded stuff, because I was always into the list. I just wanted to open them up and play them, because I was still a kid at the time,
Yeah.
So
Des T has actually asked you a question here. Are you a carded or loose collector? I think he might be talking about TVC.
Yeah. Yeah. So like old Kenner stuff, I don't have any carded old Kenner. It's just that I always open them up. I've got carded of everything TVC apart from the SDCC set, the Death Star set.
Right.
That's the only one I've done. That's the only one I'm missing. I just didn't pick it up at the time, which I kind of wish I did. But
no fancy the eBay prices now, then.
Yeah, it's like $2 or $3 grand now. It's like, no, I just can't do it. But actually, Martin, there was one other hole in my collection which Martin sorted me out with, which was the Jar Jar Carbonite set.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
you're a good friend, Martin.
One tries.
And then I guess on the wall behind me, I've got like some of the Stan Solo carded stuff, because he's actually creating like new figures which Kenner never made, which are fantastic. A lot of the new droids like Slave Leia, Ula, Garen.
That's what Hasbro should be doing with the.
That's what they should be doing. But I mean, at least you got Chris is actually making the stuff which Hasbro refused to.
Yeah. So if they ever did a HasLab Ghost, what would you want because there's rumors that these characters are going to be in like the Ahsoka show and stuff, like live action, and the vintage collection.
I think we know. I know we kind of listened to a lot of the spoiler stuff, and we know the Ghost is definitely in Ahsoka. I think it's going to be like one of the focal.
Yeah, I think it was in. I think a part of it was in the trailer. That trailer that was leaked from Celebration. I think it was. They sort of go on it at the end there, don't they? So do you want them like in their sort of how they looked in Rebels, like the whole crew, like they've got in the Black Series? Basically, they might have like realistic faces, but the color, because I would imagine that the live action. Yeah, their clothes and that are going to be slightly different to what they are in the cartoon. What do you want them to do?
Yeah, I want them to make realistic versions of the Rebels from the show.
Right.
Because you want them to fit in with the rest of the line. You know, you want it to fit in with the rest of TVC.
Yeah.
And I've got like 2 of the big Millennium Falcons. I'm staring straight at them. They're sat on my kitchen table, and I want a similar sized Ghost with the entire crew to go with it. And hopefully, I mean, also because they can re-deco those figures over and over. They'll be able to do the modern versions for the Ahsoka show, and they'll also there's at least 2 or 3 different looks for most of them throughout the different seasons of Rebels. So if they do a HasLab Ghost with like one set, I'm sure we'll get carded sets of like slight, repaints or different heads or something.
Yeah, I think if they ever did, yeah, I'm sure, yeah, to cover the cost of whatever they put in that, if that was a thing, then yeah, they would have to, a bit like the Yak face, they gave us the Yak face on the card, but then they sold him as Sayalt Murray or whatever in the main line as well, and they've reissued him as well recently.
Which makes no sense because like you can still in some stores pick that Yak face up.
I know. I know. They could have picked. They could have done. They could have done Weequay Skiff Master, for example. He's tough to get. They could have done that one.
We need the Rancor Keeper on TVC. There's like I'm actually, just so you know, Tim. I've been following your channel for years, and I've commented on things. I've got a name which from just DMing on Discord, but I sort of like lurk in quite a few communities under a different name.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about the Rancor Keeper for a long time. They claim that they've still got the molds and stuff. I personally don't believe that for the Legacy collection, because I think in the year of the Return of the Jedi, there's no reason why they just can't. Considering Hasbro do like to repack stuff quite a lot, there's absolutely no reason at all why they can't just give us that.
Yeah, they should do the Battle Rancor with Boba, but like repaint that.
Yeah.
It's just easy, isn't it? But yeah,
and
I agree with you, Tim. I don't think they've got the mold, because it's a no-brainer if they've got it, isn't it?
I think if they had the molds, they would have done the Ugnaughts when when they brought out that set, if they had them. Do you know what I mean?
I think sometimes molds get lost between factories in China because they're switching between factories.
Yeah.
And I know from other people who are making carded figures that happens.
Yeah.
Molds get lost, which is and it's they're very expensive to make.
But it's like, I think they were asked a direct question by somebody. I think it was Victoria's Cantina. She asked them a direct question, and they said no. If we wanted to do them, we could. So, but no evidence really shows that that's the case. I don't think. But yeah,
of course, for me, I need a vintage collection Zuvio. I've got a custom, but I it'll fly off the shelf.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, if you hadn't have bought up all of the Force Awakens 3.75-inch ones, then those would still be on the shelf, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but you can't. They're very difficult to get now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because they're all in your loft.
Well, I've got 400 I'm at 411 now, I think. It's a great figure.
That is crazy, man.
And he keeps appearing, like the QZ keeps appearing in The Mandalorian. I'm convinced Zuvio will make an appearance at some point, because it's not an accident.
There was one in the first episode, wasn't there?
Yeah. All 3 seasons of The Mandalorian have had a QZ in the background, so there's no way that's an accident.
We need a TVC version of Ambo, like a more realistic version of Ambo, because he has a great character from Clone Wars. But we got like that animated version, but like a realistic version would be good.
Yeah.
I don't in the March Madness, I didn't see Ambo in any of the lists. He mustn't have made it.
No, the SWTVC guys are in the chat, so yeah, they might be able to comment on where he finished. He obviously wasn't in the 64.
I was telling you, Tim, that the SWTVC guys should do they've got March Madness, like wait 6 months and then do like Fall Fever and do it for like Beasts and Bagels.
Yeah, there's an idea. I don't know which. It might be Tyler that's in the chat, but yeah, Fall Fever with the Decent vehicles. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
So Randy S has written Embo is okay, Zuvio equals DOA, which I assume he means dude of awesome. That's all I can say.
Okay, so I'm in Jersey City right now, and if I go to the local mall, there's the department store called Kohl's, and in there, still there from 2015, is 10 Black Series Zuvios at full price. They've never discounted them, and they've never sold.
There you go.
See, Martin's waiting for them to go on clearance.
I was going to say
that's the rules. The rules are you can't pay full price for a Zuvio. That's what makes him special.
What about the N1 Starfighter, Mark? Who do you think is going to be the pack-in figure for that? Because I think that has been confirmed that has a pack-in figure. Hasbro haven't confirmed it, but I think Yakface has confirmed it.
Oh, okay. Well, knowing Hasbro, I would guess it would be R5D4 just because they've got him already and it would be cheap for them to do it. If they really cared about the fans, they would give us Pelimoto and maybe the pit droids and, like the little Treadwell or the BD droid. That's if they cared about the fans and they listened to what we wanted, they would do that. Because I think you've talked about this before. There is a mold of Rose which could work for Peli, like a new head.
Yeah,
repaint
it's not 100% there, but I think it.
Yeah, they could stick that little scarf. She has that little scarf thing. They could stick that around the neck of the soft, like soft plastic. They could make it work. It would get her into the line, because I think that if they released her on a single card, she would be, definition of probably a peg warmer. But that's where to do it, is to do it with the vehicle, do it with the N1.
I see. I think they're going to do another Mandalorian figure with just a different picture.
Probably.
Yeah.
They'll probably just stick a Grogu and Mando in there just because it's easy for them.
You like Mando in the cockpit going.
Yeah.
So I picked that one up just before Christmas, which is like the most recent release of.
It's the one with the cockpit moves, right?
It slides forward.
Yeah.
I've got like Mando, the Razor Crest Mando in there with the Grogu and the R5.
So yeah, is that which R5's that?
It should only be his head, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say. Oh no,
it's
right, yeah.
It's like I think it was in. I can't remember which set it was in. He's been released a few times.
Yeah,
because I've got more than one of them.
Yeah.
Isn't it the design of the ship though? Is that his head pops off, doesn't it? Isn't that how they work when you look at the cut through guides? The Astromech droid, basically, his head gets extended from the body.
I never saw that. I always wondered during with the Jedi, the Jedi fighters.
Yeah,
they had that little head on the wing basically, and where'd the body go?
Yeah.
It didn't make it. Never made any sense, and they never explained that.
No, that's just one of those things you just gotta go whatever.
Yeah, don't think about it too much.
I hope that they make the N1 dual purpose. I hope they give you the plastic dome for when Grogu's in it and allow you to put the droid in as well. Yeah.
If they cared about the fans,
they're probably going to use some of that.
If they cared about the fans, that's what they would do, Tim, right?
If they cared about.
I know you got. I know you got. Conversations start every time, isn't it, Tim?
I know you've got to toe the line. You can't go too hard because you got to do the Q&As and stuff.
I don't have to. You can say what you want.
So, Mark, with your N1s, are you collecting a range of them so you can recreate the Theed hangar and put a little stage in the middle of it and have you guys?
I've got 4 of the original ones, the episode 1 Naboo fighters, but I never had that one until recently, and it was one of those ones that just slipped through the collection. For some reason, I think that was harder to find, and it was.
Yeah, I think especially over here, those 2012 movie line or whatever they were called, with the Darth Maul packaging. I think they were some of those are quite tough. Like, for example, the speeder bike wasn't even released over here. You couldn't get that. That Toys R Us exclusive.
Toys R Us exclusive, yeah.
You couldn't get that over here. It wasn't released. So
I was amazed they didn't.
That was in that packaging, wasn't it?
I was amazed.
It was good because I used
that for the reissue. Well, it's not reissue. They're doing a speeder bike, aren't they? And they announced it in the pipeline, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
Tim's reviewed it.
You got it. Yeah. I can't believe they didn't reissue the Toys R Us one.
I know.
You see, if they listened to the fans and they cared about the fans, what they would have done is they would have reissued that one that they already have made and spent $1 million with, instead of pumping, budget into like the mission fleet and doing all that nonsense, and taking that budget away from TPC. Or they could have give us like a blur, the easiest small beast that could be like repacked multiple times for Clone Wars, for Rebels, for the Bad Batch, for Ewoks, for Mando. They could have sold Splurks like 5 times easily, slight repaints and given different mounts and stuff. The fact that and also Patrick's promise, what was that? He said that we'd get all of the creatures, all of the characters that interacted with the Razor Crest. Lies.
Well, we're still missing season 1 Grief Karga, that's for sure. If you're talking about just
we need that. I would really like the lava barge from the season finale of season 1, because then we've got the rest of those characters, and we've got that sort of Disney Parks gondola droid with the stick.
Yeah.
Because that was such an iconic scene. It was great.
Yeah, that was I desperately wanted them to do that gondola droid or whatever you want to call it. And then as you say, Disney Parks. That one's all right actually. It's a little bit plastic. The legs are a bit plasticky, but it'll do. It'll do. Yeah. I actually took an old Kenner R2 and painted them up and like printed off some parts off the internet and made a pretty good vintage, Kenner style gondola droid. So I've done quite a bit of 3D printing and painting and stuff as well. Here's one for you, Mark. What do the guests think about the sequel trilogy, and why do they think it's atrocious?
Well, Martin's going to say he loves it because that's how he got his favorite character, right?
Yeah.
It's like The Force Awakens is the greatest Star Wars film that's ever been, and they captured the essence in just 3 frames. It's like
the only 3 frames that matter in the movie, right?
Yeah. Just changes everything, those 3 frames. It's brilliant.
What did you think, Mark? Did you like? Seriously though, did you like? Would you rate them?
I definitely enjoyed The Force Awakens, and then things kind of like went a bit weird. I watched The Last Jedi probably about 4 or 5. I think I went to the cinema to watch Force Awakens about 8 times, and I was like really into that. I really enjoyed that movie. Then Last Jedi, I watched it maybe 3 or 4 times, and then I just couldn't. It didn't have this sort of like, because initially you can sort of like watch things and get like caught up in the hype of things, but then it kind of like just, I don't know. I just didn't have the feels for it. And then Rise of Skywalker was just sort of like a patchwork mess. So I can look at the movies and see individual scenes and like characters or like certain things that I like, but it doesn't even compare to the original trilogy. And for me, Mando and the sort of like Mandoverse, whatever you want to call it, is the best content since the original trilogy. So it's good, because I was definitely on a bit of a downer after Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Did you like Andor?
Yeah, I love Andor. Yeah, it was great. Hopefully we'll have a nice announcement. Andor, what's the word? Andor centric for one of our yet to be announced guests at Cantina.
Oh, right.
That'll be good.
That's true.
Connected to maybe that little droid that that hasn't been released on TVC yet.
Oh wow!
I just got because I got those things.
If he's there, that'd be brilliant.
Because I just got back.
Get him there. Get him there.
I got the latest wave. I just picked them up this morning.
Yeah.
But we definitely need more Andor figures. we really need Deidre in TVC. Or we obviously need Luthen and Mon Mothma. It's a bit strange that Vel was released first before Luthen and Mon Mothma because they're obviously bigger characters. So that makes no sense to me.
I think there must be some sort of Lucasfilm input with what gets. I think
would that be something like?
It doesn't really make sense, that figure there. Like,
I mean, unless the other figures are definitely planned and they want to sort of like spread them out so they don't give us all immune figures straight away. But I mean, she's a good figure. She looks great.
Yeah.
It's just a weird choice of figure, and as you were saying, it might be down to some sort of quota or something from somewhere. Because there's not like there's strong female figures that they've refused to release, like Ula or Huxley or Leia. It's not like they've refused to do that.
I just need to say thanks, Darth Wizzy Wizard, for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you. I must keep up with that sort of thing.
There's some good questions that come in the chat.
Yeah.
Force has got one about Mark.
What time?
Look at 9:49.
Oh yeah. What's your favourite scene in the Book of Boba Fett?
Ooh, probably whenever Slave One swoops down and he just annihilates all those Nikos on the swoops.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty badass. That was a kind of like a mediocre episode, but that one scene was pretty awesome. And I actually really I really loved it because Book of Boba Fett for me was like so inconsistent. You had like some phenomenal episodes and some really awful ones. In fact, I would say episode 3 is probably the worst live action Star Wars since the holiday special. that whatever those mods are and that bike chase was just, I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't watch it.
Hey Mark, tell us what your thoughts are on the Vespa gang. Go on.
But it doesn't. How can you have this really amazing chase train scene with the Tuscans jumping on the roof? It looks fantastic, like really high production value, and then the very next episode you've got like something which is just embarrassing to look at. I don't understand what was going on there. There doesn't seem to be the same quality control throughout that series. Because then you've got, episode 4 was a little bit better with the Scarlet Pit, and then Boba Fett gets Slave One back, and then 5 and 6 were fantastic when Mando came back in, and then the finale was like, for me, the first half of the finale, I'm watching it going, what is going on here? And then it got a little bit better near the end, but so it's like half of it was good and half of it was not so good.
Yeah, those mod bikes, like, they're not going to run. They're not going to be able to get away from anything or catch anything, are they? On those, they just looked so slow. It's just weird.
Mark loves how clean they were. That's, if you really want to get going, ask him about if they do a vintage collection. That'll be the biggest dilemma for Mark. If they do a vintage collection, Vespa gang,
the mod bikes, Vespa gang, because the Skill Rangers we call them. No, but I actually think I hate that episode so much I will just not buy those. That'll be the first time I'll not buy something from TVC.
But you can sit there all day polishing them, Mark.
Okay. So like they give Boba Fett this sob story about how their bikes, for start, they can't even afford to buy water to drink. Yet their bikes on Tatooine are pristine, shiny, clean. Yeah. There's not a speck of dust. Dust on them. Like, what's going on? And then they're also in like these perfectly tailored clothes, not a bit of dirt, no dust, compared to everyone else who's around them who is dirty.
Yeah, they seem to be doing all right financially, didn't they?
Yeah, it didn't add up. They seemed to fit better on Canto Bike than in Tatooine. It was like, it just didn't work for me at all.
Bradley's written the greatest comment. Carbonized Vespa gang.
Let's see a few of them down your way. Yeah, well, because I live near Brighton, so we have the whole mod thing from London to Brighton, and I always go down to Brighton when it's mod week, because not to say that I don't like your music, Mark, because I do like Ash, but I love a band called the Rifles, and I always go and watch the Rifles.
Oh,
when
yeah.
it's Mod Week, yeah, because they're always down in Brighton for that.
I've seen them on festivals.
Yeah, good band. So, but yeah, there's always obviously loads of like real Vespers on that week.
But this is the thing. Conceptually, if you even look at the concept art at the end of the episode, the concept art looks good. It's just how they execute it on screen. Just looked really cringe. It was just not good.
Yeah, the way they were sort of like flying up the buildings and stuff, it just didn't look. It did not look right at all, did it? And yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting those anytime soon. What I do want them to do is just make like like those Nikto speeders and stuff. Like they could, a Boba Fett speeder, a Mando speeder or whatever,
Yeah.
With Cobb Vance as well. My mate John Miko, he put on Instagram the other day an amazing custom Cobb Vance speeder, absolutely amazing. It's the engine of a pod racer, and he's sitting there on the side of it. Incredible, I wish Hasbro would do something like that. We need more of that stuff.
But all of those vehicles, like whether it's Bo-Katan's new, Bo-Katan's fighter, or like the Blurg, or the Mando speeder, or the Hover cannon, all of that Hasbro were making for Mission Fleet, which is just clearance fodder. Every time I go to like Target or Walmart, it's in clearance. No one's buying it. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a complete waste of time. Not all that tooling dollars should be going towards, line that is actually successful and people want. Like I go to this Target and there is never any TBC.
No,
it's infuriating. It's like crazy. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, and then, if there is one, it's a Lando from the three pack Lando.
It is mad they haven't made the Cobb Vance speeder, because that speeder is just made up of nostalgia as well, isn't it? It's like it's the perfect collector's figure, really, or vehicle.
Yeah,
mad.
It is a shame. It's a shame, like because they always go on about TVC being like the world building line and everything, and it, if they truly believe that, then we need more vehicles and creatures and stuff to make it a world building line.
Fall Fever. That's why we need to make Fall Fever a thing. March Madness is great for pushing the figures, but we need beasts and we need vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to look at. You sent me a little list there, actually, didn't you? So you've got Gideon's TIE Outlander. Yeah, man, that would be fantastic. Blurg, Sandcrawler, Mos Eisley Cantina, Mudhorn. What else have you got on here that you'd like? TIE Bomber. I'd like the like a Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. I've been talking about that one for years. That'd be a good one. Mando Swoop Bikes, Cobb Vance Speeder. Yeah, they're all on here. Luthen's ship.
I think I keep it 32.
I hate to break it to you, mate.
we're not going to be getting. We're probably not going to get much of it.
No. I know it's the.
I would say there's got to be a good shout for the. There's got to be a good shout for that new, the Mandalorian Talon Fighter or Fang Fighter, whatever they call that. Because that looks cool and it seems like it's going to be pretty big in this series.
What, Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan's one,
yeah, that'd be cool.
And you can repaint that a few times and give one that's Fen Rose or different Mandos.
Joe, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the pirate ships from episode 1. Something tells me they'll push that out.
They're making them in Lego, aren't they? Lego.
Yeah, they're making it in Lego.
Yeah. What did you think of the Pirate King?
Arr, arr.
It was a bit. It looked a bit like League of Gentlemen, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was an interesting choice.
I thought it looked like a cross between Oscar the Grouch and Davy Jones from from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I didn't know what to think of it.
No.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. It might be. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't decided if I like it or not.
No. Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I'm not sure if I'd want a figure of that. I don't know.
I genuinely was the bit that made me sort of wince. There was 2 bits in the first episode, which aren't spoilers, but it was the fact the pirates were like, "Arr, avance."
Yeah,
they literally were talking like pirates, which was a bit like,
I know.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Next thing you know, a parrot will appear on someone's shoulder or whatever.
And how that bit where the droid pushed over the statue to get rid of IG-11, but then the line of "that's really using your head" got into the final cut. It's like, since when did the Mandalorian come up with zingers? I was like, what? Where did that come from?
But they do have some sort of like little comedy moments, like whenever Mando says like he's in the N1 and goes wizard, or drops. I think he did. I was watching it, rewatching in the first episode last night, and there was something he says which is like Star Wars slang, which is pretty funny. I can't remember what word was.
There's definitely a fine line, I think, of like getting it right and getting it horribly wrong. Like sometimes you're like, ooh, like Peli Motto saying that she used to date a Jawa and stuff. I was just like, come on, like.
No, you see,
you might find some people might find that funny. I don't know. I was just like, really? Like,
you see, I've seen lots of people talking in the chat about them wanting a Peli figure. I want, the cardboard box vintage collection ones where you got extra bits in there.
Yeah.
For like about another £100. I want the Peri one, but I want a Jawa with her. But I want it to be soft goods Jawa and the actual figure to be flocked. So you've got a furry Jawa underneath the...
Yeah.
I think...
That's what she says, isn't it?
Yeah. Furry.
Or just like a 4-pack. A 4-pack of Peli with 3 Jawas.
Yeah, whoa. That's a hell of a party. But they've all got to be flocked. That's the important thing on this.
Oh dear. Oh, we lost Mark.
Yeah, Mark's so embarrassed by that comment. He's had enough.
I was just about to ask him as well, actually, if he I don't know if he's there now.
He'll be back in a second. He might need to charge. Oh, there he's back.
There he is. There we go. There he is. So when you buy TVC now, Mark, do you buy 2? Do you open one up or?
Yeah, so like for example, like it depends on if it's troop builders. So I got 3 of those. I keep one carded and then open like a few just to have. There wasn't that many of those in the show. If it was like I got like, so on the most recent Stormtroopers, I think I got 10 just to have loose. And depends, depends.
What do you do with them? Where are they?
I keep all the loose ones in there's a really good store in the States called Michael's, which sells like these little, they're actually boxes for photographs, but they work well for storing like loose figures in. So,
God, Mark, be brave.
So, for example, like this is just one. I've got about 30 of these here, but if you open up one of those, then you can sort of see.
Oh, there's the Rancor Keeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you eventually want to like have them set up like in like have some like a more of a permanent setup where you like have them displayed?
Yeah, I mean the dream is to have like a gigantic man cave at some point and have them all. You have your own museum. Martin's got his own museum, but it's like you have to take the tour to find out about that.
Yeah, you got to take the tour.
Very special room.
If I take my camera around 1 second, so like I was just setting up like a little cantina area there.
This is so rock and roll. This is a member of a rock band playing with Star Wars. It's brilliant.
So I'm gonna gift this because I've heard this story before, and I know Mark's happy to tell it now on things. So Mark, tell them about what you were doing in LA when you met someone rather famous. When you were in the room with your toys.
Oh, so there was one time it was around about 2004. We were recording an album called Meltdown, and I didn't have to go in the studio that day. We had rented out like this rather superb mansion on Rodeo Drive, and the record company had put us up in it, and I was just at home with all my kind of like probably a little setup like that, toys out on this. It was a bit of a Scarface like mansion with like white carpet everywhere, so it was the perfect Hoff environment for setting all your figures up. And I was just like having time of my life playing, and this was about 2005, so I was probably like 29, getting close to 30, and the door, because we were in and out of the house all the time. No one really locked it. I heard someone knocking on the door, and then they started walking up the stairs, which is like this grand big staircase up to the sort of like higher level. And I sort of like looked around, and it was Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow like staring in the door at me, and I was on the floor playing with my toy because Chris is good friends with Tim, our singer, like so he was like trying to find Tim, see where he was, and I was like, oh, I think they're still in the studio. Don't mind me, thing. So off they went. But that was a very LA moment.
Probably wondering what you've taken, to be honest.
I love that story. I love the idea of just lying there going, oh, Gwyneth, hello.
I meant to ask you actually, Mark, are you aware of Andy White of the Kaiser Chiefs?
Yes.
Because he's a massive Star Wars fan as well. He's often at Echo in Redditch, and he has like a stall where he's selling like vintage Star Wars. So he must have a big collection as well. So
yeah, I'm sure he does. I've never talked to him personally. We've done shows with the Kaiser Chiefs quite a few times, but I wasn't aware that he had a big collector, so I never chatted to him about it. But Martin tipped me off about it, and actually going back to the Cantina, I did try to like contact him through Instagram or something, but he probably didn't see it because Martin, you tipped me off and said he was a big Star Wars fan, and we should try and get them to play the show as well. But yeah, that wasn't to be. Maybe next time.
Yeah,
maybe we can use Tim as the agent to go to like Echo and sign him up.
This is going to make me sound rock and roll, because before I knew this, I came to see you at Wembley, didn't I, Mark, for the Virgin Radio gig, and you were genuinely in the dressing room next to the Kaiser Chiefs. So we like walked past them all to get to your dressing room. And had I have known at that point, it'd been like, you're like literally next to each other.
And there is never a time Martin doesn't turn up at a show without cardboard boxes full of toys.
That's it. Yeah. It's like top tip. If you want to get backstage somewhere, go in with a box of toys and say, I'm delivering toys to the band. Security always look at you if you must be telling the truth. Because you wouldn't lie about such a thing.
So if anyone's got in the chat, if anyone in the chat wants to ask Mark a question about his love for TVC and his collection or Star Wars in general, then feel free, and I will bring up the question for him.
I would say that apart from obviously hopefully getting, my fingers are crossed for the Ghost, and hopefully that happens as the next HasLab. They have to listen to if they cared about their community, and if they cared about their customers, if they cared about what the fans want, they would give us the figure packs. Start off with the 4 heroes, which badly need updates, and then give us Cantina aliens for how we have not got Mos Eisley Cantina in TVC. It's a license to print money. Why do they not do the easy stuff?
Yeah, it is. I think, and also, because they're trying to keep up with all the new media and stuff that's coming out. Like Star Wars films used to come out every 3 years, didn't they? They had time to sort of like flesh it out. Now they don't have that. But so I think something needs to be done in terms of like, figure packs and stuff like that, where we're, it's not ideal that the fans are paying for it to be made, but essentially, if that's the only choice we've got, then to get what
there's enough of us so that if that has to be done that way, then fair enough.
Yeah,
but they should just get on with it. They would be telling them for it. I watch all the forums, and I watch Miko and your channel and Only Ones, and like for quite a while now, Bantha Skull's like, we want these figures, and they just for some reason won't do it.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, haven't we? Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is. Things do happen quite slow like that, don't they? And then other things happen quite quick, like that 4-pack of clones, for example. Like they've got this new clone that's coming out on the Andor card, and then straight away there's a 4-pack of like 212s, which is something that I've always liked because I love the clones. So, it's like, right, start by getting a definitive clone, and then, when you're talking about all these repaints, get rid of all the carbonized trash and all of that rubbish. And if you're ever going to repaint stuff, repaint troopers and especially clones. I mean, and that just like landed. I was like, wow, yes, thank God for that. Like, but then they painted them the animated style, so they can never win. Everyone's like, no, you've got to paint them the realistic style from Revenge of the Sith, which is correct. Like, you should be doing that, but I'll still.
The only logical reason why they would have done it in the animated style on that 4-pack, I can't work it out either. It's like it must have cost like a cent cheaper to do the animated style and to make it more realistic. Maybe they would have to like put a bit more like webbing on it if it was realistic looking. So my first thought was like, that's just typical penny pinching.
Because the mold and the design is realistic style. It's based on the clone outfit rather than a computer generated Attack of the Clone, Revenge of the Sith thing, So that the obvious thing to do is paint it as such, and then they didn't. They painted it animated style, which is a bit strange, but
of course.
Here we go. Let's. Danny Allen says, "Lay out the figure pack for us. Who would you exactly want?"
In a 4-pack?
Let's just say that we did apart from the heroes, because obviously the heroes are the 4 heroes are obvious. If you could have a figure pack of say 8 figures, who would you want them? What would be the thing that you'd want to back?
And would they be carded inside?
Yes, they'd all be carded. Yeah.
Okay. Well then I can go for it. I'm just going to say it. We need Ula. We need like Hot Slayer Leia, Slave Leia, released on card. We need the Rancor Keeper. We need who else? We need a Man. We need I'm just going to go with like Jabba's Palace, like a 8-pack. Well, there's 4 of them to start with. Who else? Yeah. There's in the background of Jabba's Palace. There's a few other human guards and stuff, which I can't remember the names of them.
Fozek and things like that.
Yeah, that guy Fozek, because he's actually in. You see him a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
Max Rebo, the Rebo band.
Oh yeah, there we go. Max Rebo band. Just get the Tribute McCool, Max Rebo, and nice sliced noodles, and there's your 8.
I'd buy it.
Yeah. Because the Rebo now would be the Rebo with his legs and the hands. But
so they could,
not the Keno version. It should be like the Dunk version. And
they can repack that Rebo on Return of the Jedi and Book of Boba Fett card. So they always like to repack things.
Yeah.
The Blacked Out Ewok says, "Do you remember the first Star Wars figure you ever got? For me, it was a Han Solo small head on a Palatoy card."
So my mom took me to a double bill of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back whenever I was about 4. And that was like one of my earliest memories. It was in Dublin. And actually, a friend of mine recently found a photograph, which was in the newspaper at the time, with the Academy. I think it's called the Ambassador. It's called the venue's called, the old theater was called the Ambassador in Dublin, and it was a picture of it. So it was one of my earliest memories was going in to watch. And I remember, obviously the Star Destroyer coming over, and then Stormtroopers and Vader like storming the blockade runner, and that for like a 4-year-old brain was just like whoa. And I remember having sort of like reoccurring nightmares of like Vader sort of like walking over me, and I was like pretending to be like a dead rebel on the ground, not wanting to get like stabbed by his saber. And I think because I was so young, I didn't last through the whole movie, and I'm not sure. I don't remember if my mom stayed for the entire double bill. So I vividly remember the start of A New Hope. So like straight afterwards, whenever she woke me up, we went to the toy shop and got like a Darth Vader and Stormtrooper like figures from the toy shop, and because they were the 2 ones that I wanted. And
So they probably would have been on Empire cards then by then.
Yeah, they were on Empire cards, and I know because I remember like obviously played with the figures for a little bit, and then I was like in bed just staring at the card back and like looking at all the other figures. So it probably would have been at least it might have been the 32 card back.
Yeah. And what was the last figure you've purchased?
I remember FX7 was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the
last figure I purchased?
Yeah, it's that New Wave, wasn't it?
It was that New Wave. With pre-orders, it's kind of like whenever you actually pay for them, it's like it's all over the place. But I got that New Wave. I got that's a little clue again for someone who will be at Cantina. Got that, picked that off eBay. Got like the 2 versions of Biggs from the 30th anniversary.
Purely to get them signed, yeah.
Just to get them signed, yeah. And I got that. I refused to pay full price for that, so I picked that up on the 30% off.
Warehouse.
Yeah, because they're just like pretty much. I mean, it's a nice set, but it's pretty much just repacked.
The Mando in that pack is amazing.
Is it? I'm actually going to open it up. I'm not going to keep it in the box. And then I got those recently.
Well worth opening that set for the Mando, I think.
That's what I got. That's my most recent purchases. Or recent acquisitions.
Shazim says, it is mean that they never gave us animated style 212s or 501st, and now they paint the realistic mold that way. So close, yet so far. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're going to use that mold and they'll give us 501st, they'll give us Ahsoka's troopers, they'll do them all over again. Give it a bit of time.
Yeah, and like, I want the other, I want the 327th or whatever they're called, the ones that from Order 66 and stuff.
Yeah. Shock troopers.
And what's the commander called? Bly, Commander Bly. They've got him in the Black Series. He'd be awesome in the vintage. Like, imagine that on a vintage card. Like, just do it, Hasbro. Just do it.
Well, someone's written, so I'm going to jump on this because someone's questioned me, what do we have to do to get a Lobot in 6-inch? I think we all know what you have to do to get a figure produced by Hasbro. Pretend you don't want it. Pretend you don't want it. It's locked on. They'll produce it.
I thought Lobot was pipeline for the Black Series.
I think he is pipeline as well. Yeah,
I thought he was.
But they've got a bit quiet on him. But he'll pop up. It's like Lobot's definitely.
I've got a fit. I do collect Black Series as well. Martin, you were a completist until recently, and whenever you've stopped.
I've sold out. I sold up. I aborted when they tried to charge over £50 for a repainted Dark Trooper, and quote price error. And I was like, that's one too many price errors.
The carbonized one.
Yeah, no, the credit collection.
No, the credit collection one.
Yeah. So I'm now cured. I've gone cold turkey, and literally have sold up. It's like everyone thought I was joking, but I've slowly but surely been getting rid of them on eBay.
You want to start buying TVC then, Martin?
Do you know, I was tempted because I was at London Film and Comic Con last weekend. So this shows you how cured I am. I was helping Dave Tree all the cool stuff. So when we was unboxing, I genuinely was looking at the TVC stuff saying, this is much nicer than the Black Series. That shows you how cured I've become.
You are converted.
But I'm out of that game. I enjoy, frankly, I enjoy as much watching stuff coming around rather than actually having the figures now, which is I'm pretty sure not what Hasbro want. But
yeah, I think that's definitely one thing they have to be commended for. Is like the standard of TVC. The figures that we do get really are awesome. We just don't get enough of them, and the ones necessarily that we want, I think, is the problem. But the ones that they do give us, like even like that Andor that's just come out, amazing figure, flawless,
Absolutely. And obviously with the TVC, you've got the protection of the bubble, which thank goodness they saw sense with that. But Black Series, I can see the frustration because I actually like the non-plastic packaging because where I have got a few as they come through, it's actually really nicely packaged with the paper in and all the stuff. And I've got the Dungeons and Dragons figures, and the actual packaging is great, except you can't see the figure before you buy it.
Yeah.
So you've got that fear factor. It's great if you're an opener, and then if you haven't got everything right, you can do something about it. But just having it as a collector's piece, you are effectively now buying a box with a mystery item in.
If they had taken the bubble away from TBC, that line could have killed the line for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah. No,
I was on every Hasbro Pulse live stream screaming about it.
You were hammering it, weren't you?
Are you the reason why they don't allow people in the chat anymore?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was not holding back.
He really wasn't.
You're destroying our lives, Hasbro. You're destroying us.
I'm going to answer a question for Phil visually, by the way.
This one.
Fortunately,
right.
I already, bless him, I got one of the last things signed when I was lucky enough to see Jeremy's collection. And he signed an archive Boba Fett. But I get Black Series because I'm a Black Series collector, or was a Black Series collector. But I think the vintage collection cards are nicer to sign on.
Yeah.
But obviously, for me, it's what I was collecting.
Yeah. So what, Mark? How? What's the longevity of? They're on VC 270 whatever now. What do you think? Do you think we've got another good couple of years of them going strong? Could we get to VC 500, for example?
I don't see why. I mean, there's the demand for it. Seems to me there's demand for it. Anytime new TBC figures are in bricks and mortar stores, they sell out in Jersey City. I can't find any of them in New York. It's near impossible. I think maybe some of the sort of like more less dense populated areas, that's maybe where you got a better chance of finding TBC. But like anywhere near like the big cities, it's a nightmare. So you have to basically pre-order everything. But if you go into those same stores like Target or Walmart, you will see stacks and stacks of Black Series. Ned Beast forever. All the carbonized or credit collection stuff is easy to pick up. It's it just seems that they don't make enough, or they don't distribute enough. It seems like Hasbro distribution's awful to those big stores. Maybe the stores are not ordering enough or ordering the wrong stuff. It just doesn't make sense how they decide what they're ordering. And it's sometimes you'll get like one or two, because you can go in and you can check the inventory on the machines if you know like the numbers and stuff. And for like a big store on the outskirts of New York, they're getting like one or two cases of TBC figures, and then once they're gone, you're not going to see anymore for months. So they got to sort that out.
Can I just say I was lucky enough to be in New York with Mark on Force Friday, the last one for the Rise of Skywalker. I thought I'd seen lots of things. I have never seen anyone like Mark go for the day of release collection hunt. It's like it was a blur. He ran through Target. I was there with Mark Newbold, and then we got to the toy section, and Mark was sort of almost in a sweat going, they haven't got them. It was like, well, where are we going? And then he was off again, and then it was like this hand went up. I found him. It's a special rack. And there it was with all the boxes. It was amazing.
Yeah, because they had racked them in a different they had racked them in a different spot than normal, because for some whatever promotion they were doing.
Shazoom, how do you feel about the idea of Mission Fleet of his 3.75? It would be a great to have a supporting scale. I think what you're saying is like if there was 3.75 outside of the vintage collection just to get those vehicles. Thing is, I can't see why they would bother doing that. Like the packaging shouldn't. The thing is, I want the quality to be the vintage collection, so you might as well put it in vintage style boxes. Do you know what I mean? I don't really see the point of like having a legacy collection type thing running at the same time. I don't think doing that is gonna get the vehicles out, because the The fact is the budget's not there, whether they put it towards TVC or so. So they is that question like, would I accept like a half attempt at a vehicle with less weathering and less? Then I wouldn't really like that. No, I want it to be the standard of what we've been getting, like the Imperial tank, for example, from Rogue One. That was awesome,
Look at that.
Yeah. Is that 3D printed?
That's a custom from Uze from Turkey.
Right.
But we've got a really great TVC quill, but we need this was not cheap, but it's doing the trick for now. But we need that in TVC.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate.
I know.
Oh, right. He's saying getting kids back into 3.7 foot. Well, if it was up to me, that would be the only scale. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't bother with any of this 3 inch, whatever it is, 2.5 inch nonsense. And no,
that's the point of Mission Fleet, isn't it? To be honest, it's them.
It is,
kids. It is specifically to be for kids to go in. I'll tell you the one that I know it's not Hasbro, but where they've I think hit the jackpot is Jazzwares with the Squadron, Micro Squadron stuff. That's really good.
I 3D printed that and painted it myself.
Let me see if I can. Hang on.
So that's Desert Octopus, I think, is his name on 3D.
Is it articulated? Does it move and stuff?
Yeah, the head moves up and down. There is a jaw which is kind of loose, which opens, and then the legs move a little bit. But it's great for setting up, pictures with like Mando and Grogu and stuff.
Yeah.
It does. So whenever Hasbro, can't give us what we need, we have to sort of like make it ourselves.
Yeah, people are doing good work.
And that is like that's solid resin, so that's like a hand grenade. It's so heavy.
What Jabba's Goon do you want next, and how many throne rooms have you ordered?
I've ordered 2 because I fell for the whole, there's going to be a fat bib carded in there, so I'm going to need 1 loose and I'm going to need 1 carded. But I'm actually not too bad about that because I will set one up for Book of Boba Fett and then another one up for Jabba's Palace.
Yeah.
So
I must admit that opening that bib is going to be a tough open, that one, because of the because I'm like you, I'm going to have to have bought 2 because I want to keep 1 carded. So that one will be a tough open, that, because you're thinking, God, how much this, I've literally bought another set just so I can have that loose figure. It's crazy. So
talking about Jabba's Palace, talking about Jabba's Goons. So I think if you read some of the old Legends books, I think Mara Jade is supposed to be in Jabba's Palace in disguise as someone else.
All right.
So, obviously it's Legends now, but I can't remember what that's from. But I'll have to check Wikipedia. But I actually like the Black Series Mara Jade, and I sort of did that where I took the Shea Vizsla head, and then took the headgear from the comics pack, and like put the 3 bits together to make.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So that's a pretty. I think that's as good as Mara Jade as you get with what pieces right there.
Yeah,
that's good.
Customizing, I like it.
When is the bib throne room due to actually land? Because it seems like it's been forever. Because they've had it them on display for quite a while.
I think it'll be like towards the end of the summer. I think now.
Wow.
They did say August. Is it August? I think.
Yeah, and the thing is with that one, I don't think we've been charged for it yet, have we? We get charged.
No.
Yeah. So it's not like HasLab where you pay up front. And this is the problem with that. Like, a lot of people say, Hasbro got your money for X amount of time. Sometimes I think that's like, like when
you're done,
you
don't have to worry about it then.
Yeah, when the Razor Crest finally turned up, it was like almost like having a free toy. It's like, I ordered this a year and a half ago, and it's like great. you know. But that Jabba's Palace set, you know, 2 of them, how much were they? 250 quid or something?
Mm.
You know, it's going to be 500 quid coming out of my account when that thing gets.
You could probably recoup one of them just by selling the carded bib.
I can't sell a carded bib. I need the carded bib.
I know.
So this kind of I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I got the Ghostbusters Proton pack.
Oh yeah,
and that was like the HasLab was that like 375 quid or something. And how they can do that for 375 or whatever it was compared to the prices of the stuff that's coming out with Star Wars is mind blowing, because that Proton pack is amazing for the money.
I saw them unbox it on one of their streams, and I thought I'm not even into the Ghostbusters, and I thought I wish I'd ordered that.
It's amazing, and they've upgraded it like you wouldn't believe. You know, like you attach the wand to it, and the wand controls it and stuff like that. And yet it's cheaper than most of the HasLabs that you get for Star Wars, which are just but you know, they haven't got the Razor Crest didn't have electronics and stuff in it. And
someone asked the question about which Jabba's goon. He's not really in Jabba's palace, but the one like alien, which is, you know, kind of a goon. The one alien I want in TVC is Hammerhead.
Yeah.
Because he's such a good figure, he's such a great character, and they can use him, like they could do the mayor in Boba Fett. They could do there's the 2 Mumu brothers, they called them, from Knights of the Old Republic, who were great characters from the comics. Obviously Mom and Aiden. They need to make a proper like Ithorian, because they can milk that for quite a bit.
Yeah. Finish the 96, get him on that Star Wars card. Be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That's actually still a pretty good figure. That's obviously not much
he just can't
not much
down,
articulation.
He can't sit. So if we had a Cantina, he wouldn't be able to sit down in it.
And Doc Ondor from Galaxy's Edge, yes, I back that up as well. There should be a Doc Ondor.
But I really, you know, going back to the Ghost, I really hope they make the Ghost, because I think the big Millennium Falcon is probably, I mean, whenever I was a kid, the Canner / Pal toy Millennium Falcon was the best toy that was ever existed.
Oh yeah, big time. I always say that's the greatest toy ever made. That Falcon.
Yeah, and I do think that obviously the recent big Millennium Falcon, the TVC Galaxy's Edge one, is probably my favorite now, because there's so many. There's loads of room in it. It's great.
It's a great. I've got mine down here on a guitar stand. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? Like, you know, you want the Ghost. You want it, if they were ever to do the Ghost, you would want it that big, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because the Ghost the Ghost is actually quite a big vehicle, isn't it? It
is big, yeah. It'll be, to do it in a similar scale as the Falcon. It might even be bigger. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, in you know, 1-to-1 scale, I think it's bigger than the Falcon. Yeah, and then obviously you need the ship that comes out. The Phantom, is it? Comes out the back. You need that. You know,
that Phantom 1, which came out in the Rebels box a few years ago. People are going to want that soon. I would say go get that on eBay. Make sure you have that.
Yeah,
because you're not going to not have it. No, you're not going to want. You're not going to want to not have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little window to scoop it up cheap before it becomes sought after.
Hasbro advertise accuracy, yet the figures based on cartoons are realistic. It feels more like Hasbro picks and chooses when to follow the rules that they make. I think in TVC generally they've made animated characters look realistic. I don't think there's been a time where we've had an actual, you know, animated figure in TVC. I don't think.
Well, I mean,
they did that whole Clone Wars animated line, which I never collected that. I mean, that's you know, and I'm not a massive fan of those figures. I've got one of them. I've got the Bosk.
Of course.
It's my Bosk focus, you know.
Yeah.
That he came with the slave one. That's the only way you could get him as well.
Yeah. That's the only way you can get that.
Like, you know, I love the Clone Wars animated series, but I'm not a fan of, like, you know, the way Palpatine looks in that figure and stuff. It's a really expensive figure, by the way, that one on the secondary market in that sort of legacy collection packaging. I was never really a fan of those, so I wouldn't want that style in TVC, you know. But if it was like Ezra Bridger, for example, I would like it what they've done in the Black Series, where it's, you know, more of like a realistic face. And I think I'm waiting to get my hands on Hunter, you know, because he's in the next wave from the Bad Batch, and from what I can tell of the face, they've almost gone half and half. They haven't gone true full human. Do you know what I mean? He does look a bit Rambo-ish and a bit animated. So
it's a bit in between.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they've done with that. But, you know, even like the clone troopers and stuff, their heads are like realistic. You know, realistic interpretations, aren't they? So.
Last few episodes of Bad Batch have been pretty good. The Crosshair episode, really dark.
Yeah, I think other people have said this as well. Like that, the episodes that I enjoy of the Bad Batch are the ones that haven't really got the Bad Batch in them. It's a
bit like the Book of Boba Fett.
yeah. Yeah, I found myself just thinking, would I watch that episode again? And the answer would be no, like for a lot of those episodes, you know. And I think if I think back to the series 1 of what's it called now? The Bad Batch. I can't really think of too many episodes apart from maybe the final episode and the first episode when Order 66 was happening. I thought that was brilliant. Yeah. They tied in Kanan and stuff like that. That was really good. And I think it's when they sway away from that and just have like, you know, we're the A-team in space and we're going to go off on a mission. Once I've seen it once, I don't really need to see it again, sort of thing. I kind of like it when it all more connects to what we sort of know, and that's why the Clone Wars series is so great. I know there's a lot of filler episodes in that as well. It goes off in tangents and what have you, but generally,
I think it's harder. It can be kind of hard work watching the series as it's dropping like one episode at a time. But then if you look back at like this Rebels as well, it means there's a lot just like episodes there which were, you know, filler. But it's kind of and Rebels for me is the series which has just got better over time.
Rebels,
and especially how they're
connects a lot of everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and hopefully a lot of those characters will be in live action soon. So maybe we'll get that go.
The best thing about the Bad Batch that I've seen, for anyone who was lucky enough to go to Celebration Anaheim, though I hope they do a similar thing at Celebration in London, is hearing D. Bradley Baker read a script and realise that he jumps between the characters without any gap whatsoever. It's just an amazing thing to see that he can play all of them with no break whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's really quite a thing.
Are we ever going to get a TVC shuttle? Jedi 40th anniversary would be a great opportunity to bring one out. I doubt that's going to happen this year.
No, there you go. Look, Mark's command.
Is that the what's that? The Saga one, or it's the Saga one, yeah? Or is that the vintage?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's the Saga one.
Yeah.
So I've got all my Kenner and all my old Kenner stuffs in the UK. And then all my modern Hasbro stuff's here. They could repaint this thing and release that for TVC.
Yeah, that's been in Bad Batch, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't the whole thing open out and stuff like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like a big weird playset, really. It's kind of cool.
Center type thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ends up being in West, isn't it? Yeah. It's quite good, this, isn't it? We can talk about something and Mark just goes off and gets it.
It's like
in his house.
Yeah. Got any Zuvios there, Mark?
I've got 2 Zuvios and that's enough.
Wait a minute, you've never told me this. I thought we
were. Did you buy all the 50POA? Did you buy all the 5POA movie lines?
Oh yeah, I said it right. Since the start of Part of the Force 2, I've got everything.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the animated line that I was on about? Did you buy
Yeah,
that?
I've got an entire box full of that. It's all loot.
Oh, you didn't keep that stuff carded?
No. I generally don't keep. I only keep TVC carded. Whenever it started, I kind of thought to myself, this is almost like because I never kept the original Kenners carded. I thought this is kind of like a good starting point to get into carded collecting. At TVC 0.1 or 1.0. So that's kind of when it started, keeping carded figures. But in all of the other like 5 POA lines, I just opened them up.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Although I do have this guy carded. I don't know why I've got him next to me.
Yay!
But, Wilro Hood. Is he coming to thingy? I could get him to sign.
I don't want to give anything away, but you never know when the hoods arrive.
Right. Should I take him with me then?
I'm saying nothing more, but you just never know when those Wilro hoods, they just turn up when you least expect them.
There's lots of things that, going back to Cantina, there's lots of things that we're not even going to announce that will just happen whenever you're there.
Yep. Oh yes.
So I think we're gonna wrap things up in a minute. Is there anything you else want to say, Mark, while you've got a platform to talk about TVC and what Hasbro should be doing? What do you want them to do?
What do I want them to do? I want that Hasbro. I want the HasLab Ghost. That's top of my. It's been top of my list for a number of years. I want the Blurg. How they have not done the Blurg beside me. This is what I want. I want the person, whether it's at Lucasfilm or at Hasbro, to have the balls to come out and say exactly why they cancelled iconic characters from the original trilogy. It's an absolute disgrace that we can't get Ula on TVC card. It's a disgrace that we can't have Leia on, TVC card. They could put her in like the Sandstorm gear, so that it's an option. Like Stan Solo's doing it, so Hasbro need to do it.
I think the closest we've got to that was when Steve Evans on Instagram said, when it was all the whole Rancor Black Series Rancor thing, and everyone was screaming. All the Black Series collectors were screaming for Ula. We must have Ula. We must have the Rancor Keeper. And I think I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I'm pretty sure I saw him reply to somebody or put in one of his comments on Instagram that he goes, I don't think Ula's even a thing or even a possibility or something like that. He didn't confirm that they can't, but he was basically saying that it would probably be an issue.
It's like these are like fictional characters in a galaxy far, far away, unrelated to anything going on in our planet, our era, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know what I want. It would make someone at Lucasfilm, or Disney, whoever's made that call, should just explain their decision. Saying nothing is just weird.
Yeah.
Let's hear them say why we can't have those figures. We're grown adults.
Yeah. And the lady that plays Ula, she's often on the circuit, so that'd be a cool one to get signed as well,
Yeah.
She's signing at Celebration.
Yeah.
She's signing at Celebration, and I think she might be hanging out somewhere else after it.
Right. So named Femi, is it Femi Taylor?
Femi Taylor. She's amazing. Have you met Femi before?
She was at Echo once. I didn't speak to her. I always get worried about speaking to these people. I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, no, she's lovely. She's amazing, and she looks no different.
Yeah, she didn't look any different. Yeah.
To when she was in Return of the Jedi. She's how can I put this? I've got a signed Return of the Jedi poster that I got for my 40th. So I went round and getting them signed at Celebration in Essen. And when I said to her, "This is for my 40th birthday present," she signed it, and I didn't think much of it. And then when I looked at the signature afterwards, she said to Martin, "Looking forward to the naughty 40s from Femi." That kind of sums her up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I think we are. Yeah, we're at an hour and 45. I think we're gonna wrap it up now. I'm looking forward to watching Match of the Day with no commentators.
It's 20 minutes long, isn't it, tonight? But genuinely, they've said it's a 20-minute long program.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to thank Mark and Martin for being my guests on today's show. It's been awesome. And do you just quickly want to give out the details of the Cantina very quick before we go once again, just so anyone that's in the chat that is going to Celebration can book themselves a ticket and see us there?
Let's say really quickly, it's £36 for Ash, Blues Harvest, Darth Elvis, Level Up Leroy, DJ Elliott, a number of signing guests I won't go into. And now, as you've discovered, you can grab Mark after the gig and you've got at least 4 hours worth of vintage collection discussion to be had after the gig as well in the VIP lounge if you've got your VIP tickets already. If not, just find him and talk to him. Awesome. www.thisiscantina.com for tickets, or Indigo at the O2 or AXS.com.
Yeah, the link is in the description of the video, I think, and I'll just post it again there for anyone that wants to come along. I'll be there as well.
You'll be there,
absolutely. That's a pull or anything, but I will be there.
I'm really glad you're coming as well, because I think you're going to have a great night.
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So thanks everybody for watching, guys, in the chat. I really do appreciate you turning up. It's been great speaking to you, Mark. I really appreciate it, buddy. And it's been, obviously, I've spoken to you loads of times, Martin. It's good to see you again, pal.
always.
All right.
Keep doing what you do, because you do a great job for the community.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Absolutely. I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try. Right, just stick around afterwards for a quick chat to say goodbye. But we're going to end the stream now, guys. But thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.